Republicans are set to unveil their tax reform bill Wednesday, on the Day of the Dead. But their bill is already facing setbacks. It could die. The powerful pro-business National Association of Homebuilders has come out against the plan after learning their proposed home ownership tax credit would not be included. The NAHB's proposal would have replaced the mortgage interest deduction, which lets homeowners subtract interest payments from their federal tax bill and property tax deductions into one single tax credit, offering the same incentives. Now, meanwhile, details of the plan, including whether or not there will be changes to that 401k contribution limit, remain scarce. Now that the GOP has lost a major ally in their tax reform fight, is there any way this bill becomes law? Joining me now, Chris Edwards, the Director of Tax Policy at the CATO Institute. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kennedy.
So, I read about this, and obviously there are so many powerful lobbying forces in D.C., and every single one of them is going to want to have a say. How important is this NAHB declaration?
I don't think it's that important. I assume these guys would be against it anyway. And I think it's very short-sighted. I mean, the Republicans will be giving, these folks are small businesses. Republicans are going to be slashing tax rates on small businesses. So I think that there's often a difference between what the lobby group heads are saying in Washington and what the actual members out there in America running these home building businesses actually believe themselves. If you run a home building business, Republicans are cutting your taxes. So I think that's good. So I don't think these lobbies are that important, frankly.
And you say that lowering that corporate tax rate to, probably 20%, probably higher, that's the most critical thing that they need to do when discussing taxes.
Absolutely. I mean, about half of all businesses in America, about half of all GDP is corporate GDP. The other half is small business. Republicans are cutting tax rates for both sides, for both the corporate businesses and the small businesses. So if you're a home building business or any other type of business in America, and there's 30 million of them, Republicans are cutting your taxes. So that in itself creates a very powerful voice, I think, for tax reform.
All right, let's talk about 401ks, though, because this is a hot potato that no one really wants to touch, and we're getting so many different answers depending on who you ask. Right now, the pre-tax contribution limit is $18,000, but there are some, including Kevin Brady on the House Ways and Means Committee, who's the tax writing committee, who want to lower that to possibly $2,400. I mean, that's a huge, huge gap, and it could be politically toxic for Republicans.
At first blush, I was really struck by this. I mean, 50 million Americans depend upon their 401ks now to save for their retirement. So at first blush, it does seem politically dumb. On the other hand, Republicans, it looks like they may be adding new kind of giant Roth-style accounts called universal savings accounts onto 401ks. So they would actually be expanding savings, the savings ability for Americans. So they would be changing the tax treatment of 401ks, but they would be creating this great new opportunity for Americans to save. So I'm going to have to see the details on that one.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But, you have Social Security isn't going to be there. And that is a reality that the people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are slowly facing. And there has to be some incentive for people to save, because you can't expect the government to save for you. And you also can't expect or tolerate the government forcing you to do anything. So isn't that, these universal health savings account, the best case scenario?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, savings is very much a pro-freedom, pro-American, pro-libertarian kind of thing. We want Americans to save more for retirement, for health care, for education, for all their family needs, and that way they become less dependent on the government. So I think this idea of universal savings accounts, which I've talked to Brady and Paul Ryan about and other people, I think this is a great opportunity, and I hope it's in the plan they introduce on Wednesday.
All right. Well, now is the time to do it, because they certainly are rewriting something, although we won't know what it is yet until Wednesday. Chris Edwards, thank you so much.